I did have an experience. Of course, this is my individual awakening experience. Uh, I was told to scan my different real side bodies, and so I really don't know how to do that, but I said okay, and my true self and my intuition, I could feel their presence. And so I looked at my astral body and I saw some things, but not really serious. Of course, we all need to work on them to be more awake or aware. I looked at my causal body, that same thing. I felt like things were dragging me down there, but that's another thing to work on. I looked at my mental. I didn't really sense nothing there. Of course, we all need to work on that too, maybe sometimes. And, well, in my individual case. And then when I looked at my etheric body, I mean my etheric plane, I saw Harold there. And I said, well, what the heck are you doing here? Who gave you permission to be here? And what was weird about him, he was kind of like giant, but I became giant to match him. And there was this octopus-like tentacle coming out of his chest and near his stomach area, but mostly his chest. And as it was coming towards me, I don't even think I did the new. My true self's presence all of a sudden stopped it, and I didn't even do the new. What it did was it shrunk the tentacle coming out of Harold, and it went back to wherever it came from. But then I did do the new to get Harold out of there and say, I don't give you permission to be here. I dissolve any agreement, any contracts with you. You need to be gone. You're out of here, out of my etheric universe or space or environment. But then I wanted to know, what was this tentacle-like thing? Was it an octopus or something like that? And so all of a sudden I was in the bottom of the ocean. And there was this creature that looked like a giant round ball, a little bit oval, and there was some big rocks next to it. And even though it was not an octopus, it had tentacles like one. And I thought that was kind of strange. Anyways, I could see that it had some very dark power, and I'm wondering, why would something from the ocean have that? It didn't make sense to me. Then all of a sudden, these blue-like rectangular type screens or square rectangular shaped things came on the giant creature, whatever it was, and it was like surrounding it, like blocking it from me and it. And it was shimmering. They were slightly blue, and they were shimmering all these rectangular shapes, and they were huge rectangular shapes in order to match the huge creature. And I didn't know if that was to protect me from it seeing me or me seeing it completely. But whatever it was, I said, well, I need to dissolve that creature out of my etheric universe, etheric space. And so it did. It started to dissolve it all the way got to the bottom, and then like microscopic dust, it just dispersed. And then I wondered, well, if I have that in my subconscious or my etheric, what else is there? So I started doing the new and shining like 1,000 suns in my etheric, and, not really trying to make any judgment, just saying I dissolve these agreements with these creatures or entities or whatever they are in my subconscious. But about a couple of days later, I started feeling this fear or apprehension around my chest area. And I was wondering, what's that? So I did the new. I put my attention on the isness of being, and I tried to spread it out to my whole area where I live and everything. And in doing that, I saw these ghoulish-like human beings. They had bodies, but they were kind of ghoulish about them. And the thought came that they were angry at me because they were using that entity for their dark power, and that they had made agreements and contracts with that entity to use it in whatever way they wanted to, and they said that they had the right to attack me. And I said, hold on there. Oh, wait a minute. I was only doing this to defend myself. I was only doing this self-defense, protection, because it was in my universe, my space, and my etheric, and it wasn't in yours. What are you talking about? And I had to act almost like a Perry Mason sort of lawyer to talk to them, but they were acting like very slippery diplomats or politicians that no, because we made this and this and this, no, we have the right to attack you. I said, finally, my true self came forward and said, you know that I know that you know that's not true. You're lying. Because I have the right to defend myself. It was in my universe. I mean, if it was in your universe, I wouldn't have done nothing about it. That's your contract. That's your agreement. And they kind of like stopped, kind of like, oh yeah, like, oh well. And then I also said that what else did I say? Also said that if you guys want to have your own thing, whatever, that's your individual whatever path you're on. But I need to defend myself. And some of them, they did agree, they left, but others did not. And I said, okay, if you're not going to leave, I'm going to have to dissolve you because you're intruding in my universe, in my space. And when they started to dissolve, they took off. They all went from different directions. It was sort of like coming from all directions. They all left in all directions. But also, so I was grateful for that and doing the new and the business of being. Believe me, I am grateful. But anyways, another thing happened was that I started to feel these sharp pains in my stomach area. And what I had not known was that it had filtered down to my physical, where that tentacle-like thing had a sharp point at the tip of it and had poked holes in my etheric body, but then it filtered down to my physical, so I had to heal that. I had to do the new and dissolve whatever wounds I had from it being there, and I didn't even notice it till afterwards. So yeah, I'm thinking, well, my goodness, what other entities are in my etheric that I need to dissolve agreements, dissolve contracts, and other things. So now I'm working on that. But I just wanted to share that sometimes there's things in us that we don't realize. Okay, that was the end of my experience.
Hey, Ramone, it's Duane, and yeah, these are fun stories and experiences, and that's a whole education in itself. So, as you write these things out and you share these with people, share them out there, take the time to do that, well, people start waking up and seeing what's going on because there's a lot more to their awareness. So that's why I do these things every day. I write every day. I put things out there, create images, etc., because the world needs a lot of help. And that's realistically, we go through a lot of things, just like when we're children to adults. We go through a lot of things to get to the point to recognize what all life is, and that is sharing what's real with others to help them wake up. And at the same time, we wake up. And that's how it works. That's how it realistically works. So when we went through Eckankar, those were the babysitting days. That was the first step. Okay, so now we're into the real focus here with awareness. All life is awareness. This is the difference, not a spiritual path. We're not looking to authorities, gods, masters, gurus, whatever, but relating to this reality. And so as we step into this, you might say, but it already is. This is the isness. But agreeable with doing what it's doing. Okay, so just like the sun shining, that's the best example. We ourselves, but we have this personal self that thinks. And so it's getting into that position, okay, as we have this position also. So we don't eliminate this, we utilize this. And so we utilize what we don't know. So it's always what you don't know is real. What you do know, that's something else. Okay. That's not what life is. So just like your story there or whatever, and we all have that. But I utilize what I do know here with what I don't know, which is the isness, and present this. So again, this is how we become the sun shining. This is how we become one with this reality. We step up, but we must decide to do that. Otherwise, we're in the position, just like we were in Eckankar and everything else, we're fending off the so-called dark side. And you'll just keep doing that, whatever, and playing this game, because it's basically endless in creation. You'll just be fending them off all the time until you step in with the real guides and actually do what they're doing. Step up and make this your whole life, every single moment, that this is how it is. And so again, I suggest, because there's a lot of people that are unaware of that, they'll have questions, and it's a huge process. And as I share this with others, it's sharing, it's not a teaching or any of this stuff. We went through that. I tell them it's, the start is 50 years. It's going to take you 50 years to get to a point probably where you're going to start to truly recognize, and it can be faster or longer, what all life is and step in real with it, if at all. Most people, they go for a while and then they give up because, like in Eckankar, it was really a literalized spiritual path that related to your personal self. That's really what it was. And now it's gotten worse because Harold's taken over and it's all absolute control. And so that's fine too. All this is an experience to see and utilize in a particular way. You learn to bring it around to where it's a benefit, how you transform it into a benefit for others. And as you're having these experiences, this is what you step up and share. But the personal self will say, well, I don't have time. I got to do this. I got to go to work. I've got to make dinner, all these things. Fine, you still do those things. But it's about intent. And this is one of the big things I learned too as I went through the process sharing the is. People don't know what their intent is at all. They have ideas. You go through, whatever your adventure here. And this is something, but you'll continue to go through that. You'll continue to see that and, push Harold aside and all that. But that's really not it. We're having experiences. There's something else that's going on that's not seen. And so, but you'll only see it as you step up and you actually want nothing and you want to take part. And just again, like the sun shining. And how is this, to where you just see it and be it? This is the best part. And this is what the real guides do. And so, they're babying us along to get to that point to recognize that. And so this is where, just like in your experience, those ideas, when you see Harold there and the tentacles and all that, those are simply the old ideas that many times we carry, and as excuses also. It's like, well, I got to do this, or this is how I think. It's not about thinking. It's not about the five bodies. All life is awareness. It's a pure awareness. This is what's so awesome. And to make the decision to do and be as it is. And there's the endless freeness that everyone is looking for. Because there's none of that in creation. And this is how it works with the real guides. They utilize their creativeness in creation. They transform things to benefit others until they wake up. This is the process. This is the involvement, etc., with your whole being. And you drag that personal self along, and it does what it does. And it's going to have all kinds of excuses and whines and all this stuff. And this is where people come and go. I've seen it, basically most of my life here, because they have an excuse. And I've seen the best seers and the best whatever that were right with Rebazor and all that, and they still quit. They went to the dark side because that personal self was too important. Yeah, it is a huge challenge for us all. So I just recommend this to help each person out. So as they do something to help others realistically, and this is what it is now because of the consciousness of the world, you actually realistically help yourself. Otherwise, you're going to be going through, just like vacuuming your house until you grow old and fall over. That's all you're going to be doing is just keep vacuuming your house instead of training yourself to stand real and deciding to do that and get past all of that and see these agreements. And what you're doing is, yes, you're facing them too, but it goes on and on. So that's the fun part. So again, I suggest that you put that together and put it out there, create a Facebook group or whatever, and creatively and make it fun to where how can you relate to people? And so over the past several years here with the new presentation, because it's a lot, I created the intuitive senses, the intuitive seeing, because the isnness life is far too real for people to recognize. And that's so. And so I've created this position that people can relate to because people know about their intuition and taken it a step further and made, hundreds, thousands of images, etc., with Ava and writings, etc., and talking about this so that people have a chance to intuitively, more so than their mind, see something and eventually gain the insight to recognize their real awareness. It's in step. So as you're having these experiences, and this is what the Ek is doing that a lot. They just, and Harold's downplayed all this stuff because he doesn't want to be exposed. So over the years, he says, you know, basically don't share your real side or inner experiences because again, those are yours and what have you. So in other words, everybody's in a cocoon. That's where they are. And that's where he wants. So it's a new day. It's a new position. It's a risk taker position. And you totally expose yourself to everything, etc. I get it. I get battles. I get attacks, whatever. And people, they don't want this. Oh, I don't want this attack. I don't want to be attacked. Well, then how are you going to become more aware? This is what creation's all about. This is the real position now. It's become far more real than you can even imagine. So it is what you do not know that is real. And how are you going to figure that out? That's a lot. And thank you for sharing, Ramone. Big adventure.